Welcome to the Martial Arts Psychosis podcast. Grab some coffee, protein shake, or your favorite steroids and enjoy the show.
Hey guys, welcome to the Martial Arts Psychosis podcast. I can't even remember which episode this is. With me today, I have a special guest, my coach and my buddy Brad Cardinal. What's up, buddy?
Hey. Hi, everybody.
So yeah, we did a little bit of grappling tonight, and now we're here having our post-training beer. So I don't know. You know what? I don't want to introduce you. Introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Brad.
All right, so that's it.
Yeah, that's. I don't know. What do you want to know about?
Okay, let's start talking about your MMA career.
Okay.
When did you start? You had your first fight. I was spying on you a little bit today. You had your first fight in 2004.
Yeah.
Wow, that's like old school.
It's, you know what, man. It's old school, but there were guys that came before me, and there was something about the guys that went first. They were different than us, and they're different than the kids that fight today.
In what way?
Go back and watch UFC 1, UFC 2, and you'll see these now cases like Keith Hackney and like Ken Shamrock and Hoyce. All those guys, they had something that the guys today don't have, because when we watch MMA now, we know what we're going to see. We know that like you're going to see some kickboxing, you're going to see some clinching, you're going to see some guys fighting on a wall, and probably some groundwork too. Back then, they had no idea. So those guys, they were going into the unknown, completely unprepared. There was no gloves, no weight classes. They were different.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And
sure.
Yeah, I'm old school, but not that old school.
All right, so you mentioned Keith Hackney now. That guy, he's probably one of my favorite fighters of all time.
Yeah, me too.
I liked his outfit.
Dude, if you can rock sweatpants and a wife beater and a mullet and beat the crap out of people way bigger than you, I'm a fan. And that's what he did, so.
For sure. That guy was amazing. Just that's like a famous scene when he punches that Japanese guy. Like in the balls, boom, boom, from some kind of his side mount slash. The guy's holding some kind of a guillotine from his side mount.
Yeah,
just beating him in the balls. Could they wear? Do you think they could wear like a groin protection?
He had a cup on, but if you take 13 punches to the groin with a cup on or without a cup on, you got problems.
Holy shit! Whatever happened with that Japanese guy? Who was he, anyways? Do you know about him?
I do. He's actually, if anybody listening to this wants to see a funny story, Google Joe Son, Joe, Son like SON. He was Chemo's trainer when he started, and
nice.
They were really religious, and they used to carry these giant wooden crosses down to the cage.
Yeah,
and they'd be fatigued like by the time they got there because they're big and heavy looking. He fought in Japan, and he wore a Speedo. And if you guys saw Austin Powers, he was the guy that threw the shoe in Austin Powers. He was actually the same guy.
Oh.
And he later went to prison for, I think, gang rape. And then he killed his cellmate. So I could be wrong about all this. I might be making it up. I'm not sure. But if you Google Joe Son, you can check it out. And
Joe Son, you said.
Joeson.
Let me Google it right now. Okay. How do I spell Joe Son again?
Joe, like Joe, and then Son, Son. And he had his own martial arts style, Joe Sundo.
Oh.
And he was Chemo's trainer.
Nice.
That giant guy who actually later got his black belt.
That's him. Look at his mug photo. look at this.
Yeah, that's Joe Son.
Yeah, that's the guy. Awesome.
Like I said, those guys were different, man.
Yeah. Holy shit. All right, so I don't know. I mean, you're training fighters right now. So what would be like the major difference between you guys back then in 2004 and now 14 years later, especially psychologically?
Well, I mean, it's not that big of a difference. Like I said, I wasn't the first group of guys. Those guys were different. Now I think the kids today have a bit of an advantage in that we know what the sport looks like. So now people go in prepared. They train properly. We did a lot of stupid things when we were young, man, because we didn't know any better, and we didn't. The conditioning that we did wasn't right. We trained. There wasn't a sport when we started. You know what I mean? We kind of had to figure it out. So We experimented with a lot of different training methods. We sparred with open hands, hitting each other with palm strikes, and we poked each other in the eye a whole bunch. We'd spar full out with little gloves on and cranking submissions to the max. We learned that none of that was a good idea, and we figured out better ways to do it. The mentality's different these days. I think we train a little bit smarter. We used to take a lot of excessive punishment that you don't have to do, but you learn that, and I hope that the kids coming up learn from our mistakes.
There's still gyms out there that are still old school, and they kind of swear by that rule. I mean, AKA is probably the most infamous gym in that regard.
And to be fair, look at the results they get. I mean, there's not one way. There's a lot of ways, and for some people that works.
Yeah, that's true. But I actually had a coach that was my first coach who told me, I mean, he never ever produced a world champion, right? But he told me that he considers himself as successful, and I was like, how do you consider yourself successful? Because I never ruined a person. He says, like, that's my responsibility as a coach, to build a person. Sometimes you build a world champion, but if you fail to build a person, that's your failure as a coach. And I was like, yeah, maybe he's on the right track. So I think those gyms probably ruin as many, not as many, way more guys than they kind of produce in the end as champions, world-class fighters.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, man. How many world champions are you going to come across in a lifetime, right?
For sure.
And how many people that just want to improve their lives, improve their fitness,
for sure,
have fun?
Yeah,
that's more important than producing a world champion.
I definitely agree. Yeah. Some guys are like so talented that they cannot not be world-class fighters, right? But being a world champion, the margin is so thin. The difference between guy that lost against the world champion and the world champion sometimes is so thin that, like, tomorrow that other guy could be a world champion. It doesn't matter which gym he comes from.
Yeah, man. You take two guys and you make them fight 10 times, you're probably going to get 10 different results.
Yeah.
It's just on that night what happened.
Yeah, I agree. And that's the beauty of sport, though.
Yeah.
I think so. All right, so you started back in 2004, but did you start with MMA right away, or was it?
I grew up in a little town called Canmore. It's a small town outside of Banff, Alberta.
It's beautiful.
It's different than when I lived there. It was much different than it is now. Canmore, if anybody listening has seen it, it's a beautiful town. It's in the Rocky Mountains in Alberta. I don't think there's a nicer place in the world. It's amazing, but the problem with that is that a bunch of developers noticed that too, and so they kind of raped the town. When I lived there, it was a beautiful little place. It wasn't very big. There was a community. Everybody knew each other. Mm-hmm. And now if you go there, it looks like a movie set. Everything's for sale. Everything's expensive and overpriced. They ruined it. You don't. The animals have nowhere to go anymore. There's subdivisions up every mountain. It's sad. It's sad for me, but I'm happy I got to experience the era of the town when I did, and I'm sure it was even cooler before that. So Canmore, we had a Taekwondo school. That's all we had, and the guy that taught Taekwondo out there, he was an ITF black belt, and he was different. He was a crazy guy. His name was Howard Stedman, and a giant man. He was very good at Taekwondo, and he could scrap. A lot of people, Taekwondo is a different sport. There's some of it. It depends on how it's taught. Some of it's for fighting, and some of it really isn't.
Yeah,
he was a very combative instructor. Fitness was a big thing with him. I was doing sit-ups, and I started that as like a teenager. And I did that until I was 19. And then I moved to the city, Calgary. I came here to go to school. And when I moved to the city, I started doing, I experimented a little bit. I hit Mike Miles and I trained there a little bit, but I was a young man in school, so it was hard to stay dedicated. I met a guy named Rich Martins, who's a black belt out in Quebec now. He has his own school. And he was teaching jiu-jitsu at Mike Miles at the time. He and I trained really briefly for a couple of weeks, and then again I fell off because of school. After that, I started training again, doing a little bit of jiu-jitsu with Alex Roque and at the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Fight Club here in Calgary, and that was an amazing experience.
Alex is a great guy.
Awesome guy. Yeah. He was super helpful to me. I still use some of the techniques and principles that he shared with me, and just a great dude. I was really happy to have met him and been a part of his team. But again, I fell off because I was a young man going to school, living life. And then what actually got me into MMA, somebody told me, I was training at Alex's. I stopped in for a lesson, and somebody told me that Boss Rutan was doing a seminar in Calgary, and I'd known who Boss Rutan was from watching the UFC and Pancrase, and so I walked 13 blocks in the cold just for a chance to look through the window and see the poster or the phone number I had to call to get a spot at this seminar. And when I got to the seminar, there was only 13 people there, and I don't think 10 of them even knew who Boss was. There was 3 of us who knew who he was. So he shared a ton of cool stuff with us. It was basically a 5-hour private lesson with Boss and these other 2 guys I just met at the seminar. And he was pumped that 3 of us wanted to train. And at the end of it, Sean Tompkins, he was a trainer. For those of you that don't know, he was a trainer, a very successful Canadian trainer. He trained Sam Stout, Chris Hordesky, a lot of great fighters out east. He was Boss Rutan's Canadian representative, and he was there with the seminar as well. And Boss was signing autographs for us at the end of the seminar. And he wrote on the picture, I'll never forget it, he wrote to Brad, "Great striking, man, Boss Rutan." And he gave it to me, and I was walking out. My head was all big because I read what he wrote. And Sean came and grabbed me by the shoulder, and he said, "Hey, man, he's only written that on one other that I've ever seen, and it was mine. And I'm his Canadian rep now." So my head got big. I was flattered. And Boss told me, he's like, "You should try being a fighter, man. You should try it." And I went home and decided that day I was going to give it a go.
Nice. That's a great story.
Yeah.
Have you ever watched Boss Rutan's self-defense videos?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's like gem of the internet, I think. And I don't know, I tagged you a couple of days ago in that Mike Sperry, I think. Mike Sperry.
Mario Sperry,
my bad.
He's
yeah.
funny.
That video, I mean, it's kind of cuts from his tutorials.
Yeah.
So a bunch of people on the internet just started laughing, and I was citing him, and Dennis Kung answers like the comments, "Hey guys, maybe you didn't know back in the day, that was our bread and butter." Like those were the videos, because he was one of the rare people who actually made videos. So he actually watched that over and over and over again, and that's I started thinking, like, holy fuck, when you have like the lack of information, you'll take anything you get. You'll walk 13 blocks and minus 30 or whatever, just to have a chance to phone someone. And like when I was a kid. So I first started MMA when I was, I think, 17. No, I was 15 when I went to my first MMA training. And I was going to another part of the town, which took you at least like 45 minutes. Also like cold and everything. You had to walk still, and it was not a problem for me.
Yeah.
It was like I was happy to go. Right now, not a fucking chance.
We're old now.
Yeah, older. Oh yeah, I'm just an old guy. I'm getting ready to die alone.
Wow.
All right. So I don't know. And tell me more. How did you decide to stop fighting?
To stop fighting?
Yeah, that's actually. So your score is 17-9 according to ShareDog, right?
I don't remember the record. I had just about 30 fights and yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So what'd you stop?
I stopped because I just got old, man. I'll be 40 in July, and it's a different experience doing this at 40 than it is at 25. And I had a lot of experience. When I started fighting, I didn't think I was going to fight for very long. I didn't expect to do more than 3 fights, to be honest with you. But I just enjoyed it. I loved it. And I found something in fighting that I hadn't experienced anywhere else, and I wanted to explore it and just continue to grow. And then I decided I was going to try to make a run at this as an instructor and try to start a school. So I looked at every fight as just gathering experience, gathering knowledge for what I was going to eventually try to teach and eventually try to master it. And I mean, I guess that's the goal as a martial artist, right?
I guess, yeah. Can you keep the mic closer to your mouth?
Is this okay?
Yeah, way better.
Okay, cool.
Way better. Yeah, you don't have to kind of lean forward. You can just grab it and pull it, because it's flexible.
How's that?
Nice. That's a lot better. Yeah. So recently you got your black belt.
I did.
So how was that experience? So what do you have to do to get a black belt? Under whom you got a black belt?
I got a black belt under Roy Harris. I knew it was going to be tough, but I really underestimated how difficult it was going to be. I went down to the Canadian Martial Arts Center in Lethbridge, and it's Lee Meehan's gym. And I trained with the room that I had to test with was some of the best martial artists I've ever been in the room with. Obviously, Mr. Harris was there, and he is the most knowledgeable human being I've ever met in martial arts, period. And then Lee Meehan was there, who is right behind Mr. Harris. His son Jordan Meehan was there, who fights in the UFC. And then they have a room full of killers that gym, what's unique about CMC is the experience in that gym. If you go in there, there'll be a guy hitting the bag that has probably, he's had 30, 40 MMA fights, and there's not a lot of gyms like that. I'm talking pro, because they have fight cards down there on a regular basis. And, they have high level jiu-jitsu guys down there. So the room, top to bottom, was a bunch of killers, and it was a 3-hour. It felt like I got jumped into a gang, to be honest with you. It was they twisted me up, those guys.
Nice.
But at the end of it, I knew I'd earned something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
They definitely didn't give it to me.
How does that look like? How do you earn your black belt? What do you got to do?
That day, that was just the final push, right? Where it starts is your first day on the mats. It's a process. It's years of trial and error, of learning, of accumulating knowledge, of refining technique, and I'd say that's how you earn a black belt. Is you just, it's the typical cliche, the white belt that doesn't give up.
Yeah. I definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a cliche because there is a motivational picture on Facebook that everyone shares, but it's true.
It's real, yeah.
Like I've seen some guys, like when they just started, they were like disaster. You thought that guy will never learn how to fight.
Yeah.
You come back in 2 years, that guy's beating you up.
Yeah.
Because he was there every day and you were outside drinking.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Yeah, he was there every day. He sacrificed everything for it.
Yeah.
So what I was always wondering, when we talk about CMC and the success of Jordan Mean, how does a guy from Lethbridge get to the UFC? I mean, Lethbridge is a small place, right? Where did he find his sparring partner?
It's a small city. What's interesting is Jordan wasn't the first one to go to the UFC from that gym.
Really? I didn't know that.
Jason Day went before him. Jesse Bongfeld went before him. I think it's Lee Meehan. I think he's a very unique person.
That's the common denominator for sure.
Yep. Yeah. He's been with MMA since it started. In fact, Rumble in the Cage, and this is something that the Googlers out there could probably, I might be wrong, but I don't know that there was any MMA in Canada. Okay, the TKO and UCC, I believe it was called before. That was probably a little bit before, but I could be wrong. Maybe Rumble in the Cage may have happened before that. It's one of the oldest shows, and they've got 58 to 60 shows. That's a lot of shows out in Western Canada, right? So they're doing them on a regular basis. And on top of that, if you go to fight cards anywhere in, Western Canada, probably even Eastern Canada, Lee's there. He's taping hands and he's walking guys out to the cage if he's not competing. You know what I mean? He's 50-something years old.
Yeah,
he
he's
fights.
still fighting.
And he's on a win streak.
Yeah. Awesome.
So, I think that's how you get guys to the UFC from a small, weird Albertan city in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. That's how that happens.
Yeah. I like the success stories of like smaller teams or smaller towns or whatever, because it proves that you can do it. You don't need big fancy teams or big fancy gyms. Mm-hmm. I mean, it helps.
Yeah,
for sure.
But now they are the big fancy team.
They are. Now they are. They became obvious because people gravitate towards you, right? So when you're successful, people will come to your gym to learn from you, and they'll stay there if you're remotely okay person. So I don't know. So what about earnings in Calgary? I was talking to a couple of fighters here, and being a cornerman too, I know guys are not getting paid well at all. Is that because it's something with taxes, right, in Calgary, or commission that's expensive? How does it work here?
Oh, don't get me started.
I'm listening, man.
Okay, number one, you don't get into fighting for the money.
But it helps.
It helps, but how many guys are making a living at this? Realistically,
no.
Right? If you're a young fighter and you're looking to get into this, that's awesome. You should do it. You should be involved in the sport, but it's probably not going to be your living. And that's something that, I mean, as a young man, I struggled with, because you want it to be. You want to believe, and you think like, oh, I have to believe it, and then you push and you try to do it. But realistically, I mean, you have to have other things in your life. Some of the best advice I got as a fighter was actually from Nick Ring, and he told me to make sure that as a young fighter, I didn't identify with what I was doing. He said, make sure you have a life outside of MMA. And it was one of the most important lessons that I got from any coach, because he was working out at the university, and he'd go to the Olympic Oval a lot, and he'd train with the wrestlers there, and he would weightlift there. He had a great strength coach there. And he would watch these guys that were, maybe they were football players or whatever sport they were in. And then, you blow an ACL, and unfortunately that's what happened to Nick. That career's over. You know, or it's diminished, or the window is narrowed. Yeah. And if you identify with that job, with that position, with that sport, it's gone now. Who are you?
Yeah.
That's a big problem for some guys, and that can lead to a lot of problems. So if you're going to do this, make sure you've got a job. Make sure you've got friends outside of the sport. Make sure that you've got other things in your life. I mean, you have to your life will be out of balance if you're going to do this. You can't have a balanced life and be an MMA fighter. That just doesn't happen.
Yeah,
you're going to have to make sacrifices, but make sure that sacrifice isn't yourself.
Yeah, that's deep.
Well,
you just went super deep,
I just
man.
copied what someone told me. That's something someone told me. So
that's awesome. Because I mean, it's awesome because I can relate to it right now. Because like I'm injured and I'm in and out, and when I'm out, I can't do much. I'm just at home suffering. So I realized how much of my identity is tied to martial arts, like MMA, whatever. So it was amazing. Okay, so I had that conversation with myself. Would you be okay with not going to the gym, not fighting ever again in your life? For me, the answer was a big no. I wouldn't be okay with that. But it kind of dawned on me, okay, buddy, that's something you need to work on. And I know a lot of guys that when they stopped fighting, when they stopped training, whether it was injury or just life, they started being destructive, depressed, and that's like a huge problem because we're hooked on it.
Yeah.
And people think that we're hooked on the very act of fighting. We're not necessarily hooked on that. We're hooked on demonstrating a skill and the community. I think that's the big part of it, right? Because you're there every day with that group of guys. And when you're not there, you miss your friends. It's that simple.
Yeah. I'd agree with that for sure. Those are definitely factors that keep you involved. I always love the guys being a part of a team. I like the training, and to some degree, I even like the suffering.
Oh yeah.
But what got me into the sport, what kind of hooked me, was how alive I felt in there. There's something. It's kind of weird to be locked inside of a cage with a half-naked dude that's going to try to beat you to death as soon as the bell goes, but it's the most freeing feeling in the world. I know that sounds kind of counterintuitive, but try it.
Yeah, it is.
Just kidding. But there's something freeing about it. There's something that makes you feel really alive when that bell goes and your blood just lights on fire. And I don't know. It's you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah. I know what you're talking about. But a lot of people don't understand it.
There's nothing like it.
Yeah, really. There's nothing. I think, especially for us guys, there's nothing like one-to-one combat. It's sacred. It's in our genes. We evolved doing that.
It's fun.
It's super fun.
Yeah.
It's fun, and a lot of people think, like, when they're looking at MMA and martial arts in general, like from the outside, they usually think like, oh well, like, oh my god, that hurts a lot. It doesn't hurt at all because I'm full of adrenaline.
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt. It hurts after when it gets cold, but it doesn't hurt in there. It just burns a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, when you get punched in the face. Ugh. So what do you like about coaching?
What do I like about coaching?
Yeah.
Geez, I like a lot about coaching. I like a lot of things about coaching that I liked about fighting. I like watching people grow. I like watching people get stronger. I like hanging out with my friends all day and not having to go to a job that makes me want to strangle people. I get to go to a job where I get to strangle people. That's pretty cool. I like everything about coaching. I like teaching the kids class. That's something new that we do that I thought I was going to hate, but I love it. It's my favorite class to teach. I like it all, man.
Oh yeah, it's since I had my own gym for a while, and it was super fun. It was just super fun coaching people, and just the same thing you said, just watching them grow. Yeah. Like people come to you. There's some people. A lot of people don't understand that. People come to you broken. You can see it in them, and they were some of them were even open about it. They were like, I just broke up my 10-year relationship, and now I don't know what to do. That's why I'm here. And I'm like, okay, you can see that person recovering, like by training, by getting physically stronger. You can see that guy regaining his confidence, regaining his identity, and then that guy becomes one of your best guys there. Like, he's there every day, and he gets hooked. And guess what? He finds a girl in the gym too. So
it's pretty crazy how people can grow with this sport. But if you take somebody who, is having a tough time in their life, and you put them on a mat and you teach them just some basic things, and they repeat those things on a consistent basis, they're going to grow. There's no way around it. It works 100% of the time with any human being. If you get them repeatedly doing something, they're going to get better at it. And when they learn that on the mat, they can take that and apply it to other areas of their life. And then you watch people grow. It's exponential sometimes. And sometimes you watch people flounder and struggle, but then they figure it out, and boom, you watch them grow. And it's like showing them a magic trick and then watching them learn how to do it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's super cool. It's pretty rewarding, especially when it spills over to other aspects of their life. Like, as for example, martial arts. I actually wrote an article once about my first trainer, who taught me everything I know about persistence, about honesty, and all the things I value as a person. And that helped me through my university, through all the life hardships, everything I faced. I applied those lessons and just transferred them, because that was the only thing I knew. I didn't know, like, you should take those lessons and now transfer them to other parts of your life. That was the only thing I knew. So I just transferred them, and it worked, right? And other people didn't have that. And when you're in a position to teach them that, that's fucking amazing. That's just amazing. What do you like about working with kids? Why did you think you won't be able to do it?
Because I'm old and I don't have kids. I'm not around kids very often, but they're hilarious. They're funny. They're honest. They learn like little sponges. If you show them a move, they pick it up. It's a blast. We have a ton of fun. We play games, but we also make sure that we do real martial arts, because I want these kids to be little ninjas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So sure. It's a lot of fun. I really like it.
How do you ensure that they don't apply what you're teaching them outside? If you do it,
you can't. But you just try to instill the same values that you have. And at the end of the day, they're people. They're just little people. They get it. They understand. And if you put them in situations where they realize, like, hey, being mounted sucks, and you let them feel it, and then they know.
Yeah, I guess so. I was that was my first year here in Canada. So in order to get my Canadian papers, I was offered a job in before school, after school care. So they wanted me because they wanted me to teach kids martial arts. And I was actually talking to, I think it was Christine, at a podcast about that experience. So they didn't want me to teach their kids that kind of martial arts. I was like, wait a second, what kind of martial arts do you want me to teach it? So they wanted me to teach them traditional martial arts. I was like, okay, that usually doesn't work, right? So kung fu or karate or whatever they wanted me to teach them. So I'm pleasantly surprised that you actually have parents and have kids that want to learn real MMA and real martial arts.
Yeah, we definitely do MMA, but I'd be hesitant to trash the traditional martial arts. I think there's definitely some goofy stuff out there, and I'm not defending that by any means, but I think there's some value in the traditional martial arts, especially for kids.
For sure.
I started with Taekwondo myself, and I did some karate actually as well out in Canmore, and it was invaluable, man. As a little kid, it taught me how to move. It taught me how to stand, how to be disciplined, and it taught me a lot. I think there's a lot of value, and for a while, it became kind of trendy in MMA to be disrespectful to traditional arts, and now you're seeing now that the MMA level has kind of risen. Unfortunately, in like North American MMA, we kind of have this homogenized Zuffa brand MMA. It's a bunch of Midwestern wrestlers that can kind of kickbox, beating the crap out of each other, but you still see every now and then you get your Lyoto Machida or you get your Wonder Boy, and they're weird. It's fun to watch, but it's effective still, right?
It is.
And as long as you train something properly, I'm convinced you can make anything work. You just have to put the work in. And it's always interesting to me to see where the traditional arts kind of fit.
For sure. I didn't want to like leave the impression that I'm trashing.
No, I
tradition.
wasn't saying you were, but
People are for sure,
Yeah.
and I agree with you. Yeah, I appreciate. So here's the deal. I think that, for example, belting system and karate is amazing for kids, right? It teaches them the amount of energy, time you're putting into this will rank you in that little social microcosmos that's the gym, right? It'll rank you there. It'll position you amongst your peers. The more energy and time and whatever you put into it, you'll be better. You'll get better belt, right? You'll be ranked. So belt is basically a status symbol. That's what I like about putting kids into traditional martial arts, right? It teaches them the right. It kind of reflects the society the right way, as opposed to, I would say, new trends in which kids are getting participation medals for everything.
Yeah.
And they're all good, right? They're all amazing. Well, buddy, you're not. If you're not trying hard enough, you're not getting your belt. You're not succeeding. So, I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, I wanted to talk to you about. Okay, so now, what I liked about your gym and what's unusual about your gym, that you have a group of guys. There's not a lot of people. That's something I liked.
Mm-hmm.
And also, all of the guys that are there are amazing, skill-wise and personality-wise too. How do you get that?
Geez, I wish I could take credit for that, man, but it's not me. It's dumb luck. I'm gonna go out and call it dumb luck. It sucks to be a beginner at our club because everybody's good.
Yeah.
And but we do have beginners that hang in there, and then they hang tough, and we have some recreational guys that come out, and unfortunately a lot of the times they're rolling with competitors and with pros and with guys that have been grappling for a long time. But if you really want to learn how to grapple, that's how you do it. And fortunately, all of our guys are cool. So even though they're good, they're going to take care of you. They're going to make sure that they give you the benefit of the doubt. They're not going to hurt you. And after they beat you, they're going to show you how they did it. So you can grow and you can learn. You got to catch them, and that's the trick. But I guess I'm just lucky, man. We have a great group of experienced guys to work with. And
Oh, for sure. For sure.
and girls. Sorry, I don't want to. We have some great girls on the mats too that I don't.
Oh yeah, for
leave
sure.
out.
And like what I liked about it is that camaraderie that you can't find anywhere else. I mean, I did train in a couple of gyms in Calgary for sure, and the way the social connection I had with the guys at your gym was from the day number one. It was there, right? And it was really like weird for me because I'm like an introverted and I don't let people close. But when I went there, I was like, wow. So I think anyone who wants to start training MMA, your gym is a great point to start. So here's a question. If you could change anything about your gym right now, what would it be? Where do you want to improve?
Holy moly. That's a pretty big question, man. I think I'm always trying to improve in a lot of different ways, and I could go on for hours about that. You're going to see some things in the near future that we're going to start chipping away at. I'd like to get a bigger space. I'd like to expand a little bit. That's a good question, Philip, and I'm not ready for it right now. I was unprepared.
I work as a talent acquisition executive, right? That's my job, to ask difficult questions.
Well, you did it. You nailed it.
All right. Okay. So, what do you have any difference? Is there any difference in approach when training girls and training guys?
Nope.
Not at all, right?
No.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we're rolling with girls.
Unless they have they're missing an arm or something.
Yeah. Or their spine. I don't know.
No, it's the same.
Yeah. Okay, so what do you think? Okay, so you told me. I would just like to go back on when you talked about your decision to stop fighting.
Yep.
So you kind of felt you're getting old. Have you ever thought about? I mean, a lot of guys at that point are. I mean, we even talked about it. A lot of guys at that point are thinking about. Not thinking about. They're using steroids.
Yep.
Like just to last longer, feel younger.
Yep.
So why did you decide not to?
Well, I didn't decide not to. I just didn't decide to do it. It's something that guys do, and I don't judge them for doing it. It's you got to live your life, and you got to make choices for you. But at the end of it, that's not what I got into this for. I got into this so that I could beat those guys, and I think that I did a couple of times, and I'm not worried about it. It's something that I had a great career. I had I wouldn't say a great career, but I had some great experiences throughout the career. I had enough
That's
fights
a great career.
Enough fights that I learned what I got what I came for, and it's not what I got into this for. It was never something that I intended to do, and not to say I'm not going to fight again. I mean, the right opportunity.
Oh, wait.
Who
Now we're
knows?
talking about.
I say that, but then as soon as I get into the gym and do another workout, it's like, oh geez, what am I thinking?
Why? I mean, you could fight. You know you have the skill set. What prevents you to go in there another time? Just once again.
That's a conversation off the mic, I think.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I think the competitive days are behind me. I still, every now and then, I'll jump into a grappling tournament or something, but I don't know.
All right. Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I did have a question. Yeah. How do you guys get drug tested here on a regular basis?
No.
No, not at all.
No.
That's why we have so many juiced up guys.
I don't think we have so many juiced up guys.
Oh, I think we have a lot of them.
Do you think so?
Oh yeah, I think we have a lot of them. I don't know. Like, well, I was talking to Greg today. Like in Serbia, I could talk about Croatia and Serbia.
Okay.
I guess because it's. I mean, they're just abusing it because
Right.
it's cheap, and it's cheap here too.
Okay, but are our young guys in hockey, are they using too?
In hockey, I don't know.
I bet you they are. What about football?
Oh, but okay, hockey is an Olympic sport. I think they get tested
At that level? But like junior A, are they getting tested there? Like I don't even know what that means. I'm not a hockey guy. but I mean the guys coming up, right?
Yeah.
Or do NHL players get tested? I have no idea.
I think so.
Do they?
I think so.
What about to get there
No idea.
along the path? I don't know.
No idea. But I know football. I mean, I assume based on the info I had a couple of years ago that they're not getting tested.
Yeah.
They're not even getting tested for cocaine.
And it's not that makes it right, but I don't think it's a problem that MMA exclusively has. You know what I mean? I think other sports. I think it's a young guy problem. I don't think it's a young athlete problem. I don't think it's a.
Do you know about that survey? They had a questionnaire on some Olympic Games, some 10 years ago or something, and they asked athletes, would you take a banned substance if it killed you 3 years after the Olympic Games, but it will ensure you a medal, not even a gold medal, but a medal at the Olympic Games? I think 85% of them said yes. So that tells you something about the athlete's mentality.
Yeah, it does.
That was wow. Like, and then you after that you got some names like Marion Jones. She took. I mean, she looks like someone who took a lot of hormones, right? And then that runner, what was her name? I think Marilyn Audie or something like that. She had a mustache.
Cool.
You can see her on track with a mustache. I was like, fuck.
Yikes.
That's weird. So, do you think USADA solved the doping problem in the UFC?
No.
No? How come?
No. The guys are still failing tests.
Yeah, but the question is, are they still passing tests? I mean, okay, are they still peeing clean even though they're on it?
I have no idea.
Some of them definitely look like they're on it.
You know, from my experience, you can't tell by looking at guys. You see guys that fail tests that don't look like users, and you see guys that look like, you know, that guy's using for sure, and he keeps passing tests.
I'd say Tyron Woodley uses for sure.
I wouldn't say that because I don't know Tyron, and I know a guy, like my friend went down and trained with Tyron, and he told me about Tyron's work ethic, and he told me, you know, that he's one of the strongest human beings he's worked with. So, I mean,
how didn't you? Okay, my question is, sorry to interrupt, but
that's fine.
Like if you're not on it and you have the best work ethic in the world, you get overtrained.
Yep, and there's guys that are just genetically different.
Sorry.
Are we good?
It's turned off for some reason.
Oh.
Okay, I'm recording again. Yeah, you said there were some guys that are genetically different.
Yeah, there's just, I mean, we've all trained with that guy that, you know, you grab him around the neck and you squeeze as hard as you want. He's not tapping. He's got that neck. We were talking about it tonight. Yeah, there's just guys out there that are different. They're just not like you and I. And
yeah, that's so, like, that amazes me. Thing that works with any guy you rolled before that guy works like 10 out of 10 times. You squeeze that guy, nothing. Doesn't even flinch.
Yeah, they're out there. You've all trained with that guy that's doing the bridge and roll wrong, but he still gets it because he's just stupid strong and he's stubborn, and those guys are out there, man.
Yeah, for sure. And I think strength really is a great equalizer. Even if you don't have the skill set, you can get away with strength. Like if you're super strong, you can do a lot of damage just by being strong. Like no skill set whatsoever, or minimum skill set.
Yeah.
Like there's something. I mean, just look at the Bob Sapp phenomenon back in Pride days.
Well, there's weight classes for a reason, right?
That's true. But this guy was a legit heavyweight, and Nogueira was a legit heavyweight at that time. So I don't know if you remember that fight.
Oh, you bet I do.
Oh, he slammed him on his head. That was amazing.
Yeah.
So to tell me more about your gym. I mean, tell people more about your gym. So where are you located? How can people find out more about you?
We are at the Calgary Central Sportsplex in Calgary. It's a really cool place, actually. It used to be a soccer center, and inside now we have it's run by a couple that has a business called Breathe Parkour. And if you're into parkour, you watch those videos of people falling off of buildings and doing cool rolls, and yeah, it'd be awesome running from the cops or sneaking into the zoo.
Yeah,
they have a business like that, and so they have a parkour company, and then they also run this sportsplex. And I believe what they're trying to do is they're trying to make it like a mall for like fitness. So there's a bunch of different things going on. We have a basketball court, we've got a full-size turf that you can play soccer on, lacrosse. There's a ball hockey court. We're the jiu-jitsu club. It's a small gym. We have 1,000 square feet, and we're a small group. But we have everything that we need. We've got mats and a padded wall, a treadmill, a couple of kettlebells, some striking gear, and we have everything we need to do martial arts in there. We've got a great group of people with awesome attitudes that are super fun to train with. And we just started a kids class. The kids class is a blast. We're starting 8 to 12 is kind of the age group I was kind of shooting for, but we've kind of grown outside of those numbers a little bit, but it's fine. If you get a kid that wants to train, bring them down, sure. We'll figure it out. And then the other thing we have going at the gym now is we started a grappling tournament. We call it the Freestyle Grappling Grand Prix. And if anybody's out there that wants to compete in grappling, check us out. It's FGGP. I want to say CA, but it might be COM. I don't know.
I'll definitely put it in the podcast notes.
Sweet.
I think. Okay, this is for some reason not working anymore.
Okay. Is this thing still recording?
Yeah. Audio is still recording. So if you YouTube users are just seeing the logo right now, that means the video died for some reason. But that's okay. You can still look at our pretty faces or a picture of us and still listen to.
Let's get a picture of your head just rotating.
Yeah, I can do that too.
That'd be killer.
Yeah. That's Joe Rogan thing. It's a picture of his head just rotating. Okay, I'll have mine pulsating or something.
Okay, that works. Okay. Zooming in and out.
Yeah. Just to make a dream of me.
Beautiful.
So yeah, we were talking about your grappling tournament.
Yeah, so we give away cash prizes. We have an absolute division because something that we used to love about the old tournaments, you'd come out and you'd do your division, and then in the end they'd have the open weight division where anybody could go against anybody, and it was always cool drama because you'd see the giant heavyweight guy go against the little technical black belt that won the division. It was super cool matches.
Awesome.
So we have an open weight division and we give away cash prizes. It's a blast. We have it's been a small turnout so far, but every time anybody comes, it's a blast. Everybody has a rad time, and you'll get lots of matches. So it won't be one of those tournaments where you come out, you get guillotined in 30 seconds, and that's your day. You'll probably get 5 to 6 matches.
Oh, for sure.
We've had more than that.
If not more, yeah.
Yeah, you'll get a lot of experience.
More.
You'll be grappling.
For sure. That's like a couple of hours.
Yeah.
All right, so... actually, we did talk, because I don't know, questions and subjects are just popping into my mind, so I'll just throw them out.
Let her rip.
We were talking about your experience with Wim Hof method, and breathing. And you're doing Wim Hof method on a regular basis, right?
I do a little bit of Wim Hof, but breathing in particular has really fascinated me in the last little bit. I started it when I was down at the end of my competitive career. I went down to CMC and I trained there I lived actually in Lee's basement for about 6 months, and I had the pleasure of training with Jordan Meehan and Brant Dewsbury were training for fights. Jordan just signed to the UFC, and there was a guy, Joel Adorsky. He's an amateur fighter down there, great fighter. Colton Cronkite. We had a bunch of guys in the gym on a regular basis. We were training pretty good, and Jordan actually, his friend taught Kundalini yoga, and he was doing a lot of breath work, and he kind of got Jordan into it, and Jordan sort of talked to the rest of us and got us into it. And shortly after, Wim Hof came out, so we started, obviously we looked into that, and it was cool. I've also played with a little bit of Qigong. I got a friend of mine that teaches Qigong, and we had some really interesting breath sessions with him, and I'm fascinated by the what breath can do for your physiology, for your mood, for stress and anxiety, for performance, athletic performance. I think it's a pretty versatile training method that we're just starting to scratch the surface of.
So what would be some benefits that you've seen, like firsthand?
Well, I'd say the first thing I noticed was it really calms me down, and it keeps me present and in the moment. And that's something a lot of us in today's world, I think, if you look at the way our attention is kind of competed for with our smartphones and our jobs and social media and things like that, most people's minds are everywhere but where they are. And the breath will center you. It'll keep you
for sure
where you are. And that's the first thing that I noticed. But small things, I'm calmer in situations. If I get mounted in it, I end up in a bad situation in a training session, I'm calm, I'm cool, I can get out of it. That's important for a martial artist. If you hyperventilate, you can survive longer in a chokehold. It's stamina, things like that. Small things.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's that. Yeah, I don't know. My experience with, I never tried the Wim Hof method because I wanted to go hardcore with the cold showers and everything. I just never had the discipline. I can't squeeze it into my schedule like every single day. Do that.
It'll save you time. You'll be out of the shower like that.
Yeah, for sure. I just don't shower in the morning.
Right.
I shower before I go to bed. So I don't know, in the evening, cold shower. And actually, I'm an idiot because it helps you with your sleep. Cold shower in the evening calms your body down. For some reason, your body reacts in some way. I don't know. I'm too stupid to understand it. But your body reacts somehow. I know when I'm having my anxiety episodes, panic attacks, cold shower is my kind of last resort, and that calms me down. That floods my body with adrenaline.
Does it help?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It helps. But that's my last resort because it hurts.
It sucks.
And it sucks. And when you're super anxious, you're very sensitive. So it hurts twice as much when you get in there. It's really like because you're feeling you're hyperventilating anyways when you're anxious, and you get in there, and your natural reaction of your body is to hyperventilate. So you get, actually, while you're taking a hot shower, your physical reactions are worse because you're hyperventilating even more. You're shaking. You feel like you're gonna die, but it clears your head. And I guess that's what you need. It clears your head so you can calm yourself down. Because while you're having a panic attack, your thoughts are everywhere.
Right.
Or you just have one thought that's super loud. You can't hear anything except that one thought. So for all of you guys that do have anxiety problems, which is probably a large percentage of you listening, cold showers. Yeah, I just don't have the discipline to do it all the time.
Man, I got on the cold shower thing like long before I heard of Wim Hof. A friend of mine, he's a giant Sikh dude, and he practices Kundalini yoga, and a part of his routine that he does is a cold shower every morning. And I was having lunch with him one day, and he suggested that I give it a go. He just told me, he's like, "Have you ever tried a cold shower?" I'm like, "I've done it before, but I mean, like every day." And he told me that if you do it every day, if you start your day with a cold shower, you start your day with an act of courage. And if you beat the monkey mind first thing in the morning, and you force yourself to stand under that water and just do it, just suffer if it's suffering for you. Deal with it, live it, feel it. When you come out, the rest of your day, you started it with an act of bravery. You're good. You feel stronger. You feel more powerful that day.
Yeah, that totally makes sense.
If anybody listening, try it and message
sure.
me. Let me know. It's my friend will probably love to hear that you tried it too. But I guarantee if you start your day with a cold shower and you make a habit of it for, let's say, 3 weeks, you'll experience your day differently. Try it. Test it.
Sure.
Don't take my word for it. Test it.
Do you think the same effect? Do you think like working out early in the morning will produce the same effect?
I don't know about the same effect, but I think it's a good habit. I don't think
for sure
because
it's an act of bravery as well. Like waking up in the morning, just killing the gym.
Yeah.
First thing in the morning. I know from my own experience again. When I was suffering badly, it was just before I went to Canada, actually, obviously, right? So I would wake, and I hurt my back. There was actually a time when I got diagnosed with the serious injury that I have, and it's like, okay, so I woke up in the morning, I would do my mindfulness meditation, and then I go to the gym or for a run, like 10K run or just strength training in the gym, and I never felt better. My diet was there, and I never looked better. I was looking amazing, right? As opposed to now, and I'm fat. So I think, cold shower in the morning. Now you got me interested.
Try it. Try it. Let me know.
Yeah, I think my wife would be thrilled with me. So the other day, I was actually filled the tub with ice and water. And I was getting into the tub. She just looked, opened the door, she's like, "You're a fucking idiot." Closed the door, screaming into the tub full of ice and
how long did you go for?
I always go for 20 minutes.
20.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
That's gutsier than me.
Well, after 5 minutes you don't feel anything anyways, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I wouldn't say you don't feel anything, but you suffer a whole lot less. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's manageable.
Yep.
After 20 minutes, I just get out because I literally can't feel my limbs anymore. So I'm kind of scared to stay in there. But you can stay for 20 minutes, not a problem.
Yeah.
Or if you go to Repsol or Talisman Center, that's cold enough. That's on 4 degrees all the time, right?
I'm not sure.
Never went there?
I've been, but it's been years.
Oh yeah, so it's cold. it's like legit cold, and I stayed in there for 20 minutes too. So it's not that bad. I think people just. I think showers are way worse for me than baths.
Oh yeah,
because it's always touching the new part of your body, and it's always cold. You can't get used to it.
Yeah.
So that's something I really hate. So what do you think about saunas?
Saunas?
Yeah,
I like them. I used to use them to cut weight, and I didn't always like them. But if I'm not cutting weight, I like them.
Yeah, that's all. I feel amazing after that.
Yeah.
And there's been some research talking about the benefits of it. And now we know that it produces growth hormone, and if you're injured and if you go to sauna on a regular basis, you'll preserve muscle mass at a much greater rate than you would if you just didn't do anything.
Yeah.
So that's great. Taking a cold shower after a sauna, that's how you win your day without working out, I guess.
Give it a go, man.
Okay, all right. I think I did have a question or a subject I wanted to touch on. We're almost at an hour mark, so we might want to finish here if there's not anything else you wanted to talk about.
You tell me, man.
Okay, all right. So yeah, people can visit cardinalmma.com.
Check it out.
Yeah, that's a gym.
Find me on Instagram. That's if you want to check stuff out. Most of the time, I'm pretty bad at social media. I don't like it. I don't like phones. Instagram. If you want to get a hold of me, find me on Instagram. I do the Facebook thing, but I check it super infrequently, and I hate it.
Why do you hate it? Does it like occupy you too much, or?
It's tedious, man. When I turn it on and I have all these stupid notifications. You know how many? I'm okay. You got me started now. Here we go. When I check my email and I have like 54 emails and 53 of them are social media, just notifications about notifications. It's so just. I don't know. I hate it, man. I could really do without it.
Yeah, I guess so. I think if I didn't have, I was thinking about closing my Facebook account, and I have two. I have a Canadian one and I have a Croatian one. And now people from Croatia found me on my Canadian one, and it's now I'm kind of staying in contact with people that way. So that's a good and the bad part of it. But it occupies a lot of my time and a lot of my attention, and it's an addiction.
Well, if you look at what happens in your brain when you get a notification, right? There's one of the guys that I roll with was telling me all about it. He's a psychologist, so like I can't tell you that what's happening in your brain with the chemicals. It could be, that might have been the word he used. I'm not sure, but the same thing happens when you use like an illicit drug when you check these stupid phones, and you get addicted to it, and now you're checking it, and I don't know,
and messes up with your attention too.
Yeah,
that's the problem, and I really see like the negative consequences of it.
Yeah, I think a lot of the anxiety and a lot of the depression that people are dealing with are from these stupid things. And the sooner we get rid of them, I think the better off we're all going to be. But as I say that, I got mine in my hand because
but it's like I think it just might be a transitional phase right now until we get from just basic phones, like this is what we have now, and maybe in 10 years we'll have something that's not as intrusive, not as addictive.
Yeah, Terminator vision.
Yeah.
The chip right in your head.
Just augmented everything. That would be I don't know.
Smash your phones and come do jiu-jitsu. You'll feel way better.
that's for sure. You know what? Do jiu-jitsu just to have an hour and a half break in a day from your phone.
Yeah.
That's if nothing else than that. Just off screen time for an hour and a half every day. That's a lot. I mean, that's more than a lot of people are getting. So that's for sure.
Yeah, that's scary.
Okay. All right, man. We can finish here.
Cool, dude.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
All right. And people, check out cardinalmma.com. And if you're listening to this and you want to be my sponsor, I don't know. I mean, you could be my sponsor. It would be a good idea. If you have some extra cash, you just want to get rid of it, for sure. You know what? Contact me through Facebook, through YouTube, and I'll be glad to take your donation. I'll be very glad. That would be amazing. Yeah. You wanted to say something?
No.
Okay. Okay. Bye, people.
Later.